What is up, YouTube? We are out here with a new video for you today. This video is going to go out for my Yugioh Duel Links lovers out there. I've been playing Duel Links for a little over a year now. If you're no stranger to my stream, you've probably seen me stream the game. This video I decided to do for multiple reasons. One, for the new players that are just starting to play the game. Maybe they don't know what decks they want to build. So I'm building this video out there to show you guys my top 5 best decks that I enjoy using over and over again. I always go back to these decks, whether it's competitive, whether it's a tournament, whether it's just casual gameplay. So let's get into the video. My top 5 favorite decks to play. Let's get into it.
It's time to do.
Number 5 is going to be Gladiator Beasts. This deck is an older deck which recently got some updates to it about 2 months ago, which has definitely brought it back into the competitive scene. It's still not a top tier deck yet, but it is definitely up there and was one of my favorite decks to play. So number 5, Gladiator Beasts. Let's get it. Number 4 is a fairly newer deck that has come out within the last 2 months altogether. It emphasizes a lot of the XYZ monsters that you might see people using nowadays. This deck is the Gaga Go Doo Doo deck. This deck sounds funny. It is a hilarious name to use for a deck, but this is a very fun deck to build, play. It is still a competitive deck. It is not on the top tier list of decks yet, but it is a very competitive deck and I do enjoy playing it. Number 4, let's get into it. Gaga Go Doo Doo. Number 3 is going to be a little bit of an older deck as well. I don't know exactly, because it's a deck that's spread out through multiple boxes in the game, but it is a very fun deck to play. This is actually one of my buddy that I stream the game with a lot. It's one of his favorite decks to use of all time. This deck actually is very frustrating if you don't know how to play against it, and it is a highly competitive deck in both of our opinions. No, it has not been on a tier list either, but it is definitely a competitive deck and we've enjoyed playing it, so we're hoping that you guys will too. Number 3 is the Yosenju deck. Number 2 is no stranger to the top tier list. It has been on and off over the last year with variant changes due to ban lists and stuff like that. But this deck is a very popular deck still to this day. The only issue with this deck it can be very difficult to put together because it does contain a lot of different ultra rares that you need multiples of that are in bigger boxes. So it can be a little bit more difficult to get, but if you can manage to get this deck put together, it is very fun to play and very competitive, and is still, I believe at the moment I'm recording this video, a top tier deck. It is Blackwings. And my number 1 top deck to play, this deck has been around. This was the first deck that I built when I started playing Yugioh Duel Links, and it has been very near and dear to my heart. It has been a competitive deck for a long time. It recently got a couple of upgrades from a new box about 3 months ago or something like that. It is very near and dear to my heart. This is why it's my number 1 deck to play, and it doesn't take that much to put it together. At least in my opinion, it didn't take it so much at the time. This deck is Triamids. I love it. You'll love it too. Let me know in the comments when you guys are done watching this video. Please let me know. Alright guys, here we are with the Gladiator Beast part. The skill we are using is Balance. Balance is a pretty common skill used in a lot of decks, so we are using into this one because we got a pretty good balance of monster spells and traps. The monsters we're using, we got 1 Vespasius, 1 Laquari, 3 Bestiaries, 1 Retiari, and 2 Ondals. These are the monsters you're going to be using. There's variations of this Gladiator Beast deck, but this one is very efficient as far as I'm concerned. For the spell cards, we got 3 dies and 3 Gladiator rejections. These cards are key to this deck's opportunity to succeed. Definitely make sure you have 3 of those. Then we're also using 3 charges and 3 chariots, which are specific only to Gladiator Beast decks, which are very good cards. For the spell cards, we are using a Heraclinos, 2 Geiserises, Neurochius, Domitianus, and an Esadari, and just to fill in the gap, and also very usable, viable card, we threw in a Cowboy. This deck is very fun. I've enjoyed playing this deck a lot, and I really hope you guys do too. Let's get into the gameplay. Let's get it. Alright guys, here we go. Quick breakdown for the Gaga deck. The skill we're going to be using is the Automata Play. This skill is key for this deck. I highly recommend it. It is only available on Astral and Yumi, so you need to make sure you farm for this skill. For the cards we're using, we're going through these right now. We got the Utopic, 3 Utopics, 3 Gaga coats, 1 Golden Form, 2 Mancers with 1 Sister. And the rest of this is strictly spell cards. We're using 2 Lances, 2 Gaga Bolts, 2 Hatronades, 3 Draws, and 3 Gaga tags. Now, a lot of people have been using 3 Lances with only 1 Gaga Bolt. I didn't have 3 Lances, so we're using 2 and 2. The XYZs we're using a Cowboy, with a Utopia alongside a Force Focus, a Diamond Dire Wolf, and a Samurai and a Stormbreaker. So that's the breakdown of the deck. Let's get into the gameplay. Here we go, guys, with Yosenju's. The skill we are using on Yosenju's is the Tie That Binds. This is a good skill to have for these monsters. You can use other skills. I've seen a lot of other skills be used, but this is the one I've tended to cling to. For our monsters, we have 2 Yosenju, 1s, 3 Yosenju, 2s, 2 Yosenju, 3s. We also put in 2 Kiteroids, 1 Isna, 1 Sujik, and 2 Oyams. The spells we are using are 2 Lances, 1 Cyclone, 2 Sword Stings, a Drowning Mirror Force, and a Trap Hole. And then, if absolutely necessary, we did put in some XYZs just for a little bit of support for this deck. We're using a Zubaba General, a Cowboy, a Utopia, a Deltros, a Force Focus, a Samurai, and again another Stormbreaker. This deck is very fun to play, guys. I've enjoyed it. Again, like I said, this is a very popular deck for another friend of mine that I've been playing this game with for a long time. It's a fun deck. I like I said, I've enjoyed it, and let's get into the gameplay. Let's get it. Alright, here we go with the Blackwings, guys. The skill we're using is Peak Performance. This is a very popular skill that we use in Blackwings a lot. There is some other skills, but none really make much sense to this deck. So for the monsters, we are using 3 Simoons. We have 1 Zephyros, 1 Boar of the Spear. We got 3 Gale the Whirlwinds, 2 Chris's, 2 Chris's, 1 Orochi, 2 Lances, 1 Night Beam, 3 Whirlwinds, 2 Cyclones, and a Fiendish Chain just for a little added extra support. Our synchros are going to be Vermilion Dragon along with Onimaru, with Chidori, Raikiri, Obsidian Hawk Joe. We also threw in a Samurai Destroyer for those special situations, and a Sahoya. This deck is a very popular deck. It's been a top tier deck for a very long time. It still is, as I'm recording this, a tier 2 deck at the very minimum. It's a very fun deck to play, like all my other decks. I really think you'll enjoy it if you can put, like I said, the biggest issue with this deck is a lot of ultra rares. So if you're not looking to spend a lot of money right away, this may not be the deck for you. But if you're willing to put the money or just the game time into it, this is a very fun deck to have. Let's get into the gameplay.
Duel.
And finally, here we go with the Triamids. The skill we are using on Triamids is Balance. I know I've said before that Balance is a very common skill that's used in a lot of other decks, but Balance is very key in this deck for the amount the spell cards get rotated a lot, and you really want to have all of these cards starting in your hand. So let's go with the monsters. We have 1 Sphinx. We're running 2 Masters, 2 Hunters, and 2 Dancers. With the spell cards, we have 3 Cruisers, 3 King Golems, and 2 Fortresses. For the trap cards, we have 2 Treacherous Trap Holes, 3 Pulses, and just for a little added extra security, we threw in a Power Sink Stone. Doesn't necessarily have to have the Power Sink Stone in there, but it can be helpful in certain situations. Don't mind any of the synchros down there. That's usually just to throw off your opponent, just to, you know, make them think that you have a side deck. This deck doesn't usually use the side deck. And like I said before, if any of these decks really pique your interest and you want me to go into more detail for each individual deck, I will make separate videos for those if that's something that you guys wish you want me to do. Just put a comment down in the comments below of which deck you want me to go into more detail with. And with that said, let's get into the gameplay. there you have it, guys. That is my top 5 favorite decks to play for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for future content that will be coming out. And if you guys have any other questions, or if you have any other suggestions of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links videos about decks that you would like me to make a video on, please leave them down in the comments, and I will be sure to look into them for you guys. I appreciate all of you. Hope you guys have an awesome one. Thank you. Later.